all. No freighters, no jobs, no contracts in weeks. We're standing around kicking rocks.
Well, hey there, Hullhead. Clawed your way out of the groundbreaker at long last?
Uh-huh. Oh, sorry, were you expecting me to say something? Maybe a long time no see or a you've aged, old man?
Your captain has a sense of humor, Felix. Good. There's a time and place for humor. So, you took Felix under your wing. Kept him busy. Good. Kid always needed a place to belong.
Felix is, a vital member of our crew. He's good in a fight.
Hear that, Clyde? I've been making something out of myself.
So long as you haven't been making a fool of yourself. I'm sure Felix has no end of stories to tell of your exploits together. I look forward to catching up with the boy. I'm working on something. Something big. Something the likes of which Halcyon has never seen. And I want Felix to be a part of my initiative. I'm fulfilling a promise I made to the boy, that one day, he and I would change the colony together. That day has finally arrived.
Easy there, Clyde. No one said nothing about throwing in with you. In case you didn't notice, I'm pretty happy where I am.
I'm not asking you to walk away from your captain, Felix. But neither should you allow yourself to be controlled by fear. Change is not to be feared. I brought you here because I want to know where Felix's loyalties lie. When the day of our revolution comes, I want to know that I can rely on him. Everyone in my crew proves their loyalty. No exceptions. Not even Felix. I want you to deal with a traitor for me. Name's Trask. Kill him, and bring me proof of his death. His ring should do nicely. Ratted us out to the board. He's been an informant. Has been for years. When he realized I was onto him, he and his little cadre mutinied. Killed 5 of my own and tucked tail. I don't know where he's hiding, but his wife might. Rosanna. Lives on the groundbreaker last I checked. Rosanna knows my crew by name and face, but you're a stranger to her. She'll talk to you.
Clyde offered me a hand when nobody else would. I'd say I owe him a good turn.
There you have it, Captain. A favor for an old friend.
You think so? Maybe we should have a word with Trask. Get his side of the story first.
You'd be wasting your breath bandying words with that traitor. But if it makes you feel better, by all means. Remember, I want proof. Bring me his ring. I don't care if the hand's still attached. Here, my token. Think of this as my personal signature. Anyone who knows me by my works will know me by this token. Well enough. It's been a few years, but I still remember a thing or two. You had a chip on your shoulder. You'd argue over anything, and you'd never back down.
What do you mean, had? And for the record, you never could admit when you lost an argument.
You see what I had to deal with? Let's hear it. A revolution is the work of a lifetime, Captain. I've spent my life preparing for the day of Halcyon's reckoning. Everything you see around you is the result of that preparation. A base of operations, loyal soldiers, freedom from the board's oversight. Hardly. The board is rotting from the inside. Tomorrow, next year, a generation from now, eventually, the board will fall to pieces. Entropy is the natural state of the universe, Captain. All systems inevitably dissolve. When that day comes to Halcyon, we will be ready.
That was simultaneously the least scientific and most pompous statement I've heard in ages. Well done, Mr. Harlow.
A vicar. I admit, I never imagined a man of the cloth living the adventurer's life. You do keep some interesting company. Was there anything else? The skies around Scylla are curiously absent of patrol ships. It's almost as if the board's sphere of influence is shrinking. Besides, our facility is well armed and located on defensible terrain. If the board tries to lay siege to us, we'll make them pay. Not all revolutions involve bloodshed and fire, Captain. The purest act of rebellion is to live according to one's own means, independent of any masters. One day, when the board is weak and Halcyon vulnerable, we may claim a piece of this system for ourselves. Until then, we bide our time. Something on your mind? Let's hear it. I was working on this plan for years, saving every bit I could, drawing plans, biding my time. I never intended to spend my life laboring on the groundbreaker. When the opportunity presented itself, I did what I had to do. I left.
You might have said something.
I had some ugly business in Scylla. If I told you, I would have implicated you. Hephaestus controlled mining operations all over Scylla. Most of these operations failed. The company pulled out and abandoned their facilities. Mostly abandoned anyway. This one was running on a skeleton crew. My associates and I seized control in a matter of minutes. Something on your mind? Let's hear it.
Clyde's got a crew of his own, huh? Good for him. Did you want to ask me something? I know. Clyde comes off rougher than Mantisaur hide. He's a good guy, though. Just gotta get to know him. You think he's using me? He wouldn't. Would he? That he's probably using me. Yeah, you're right. I guess he thinks I'm still just some wide-eyed tenderfoot looking for a scrap. Maybe we should go have a word with Trask. Get to the bottom of all this. Yeah, boss?
by verity, by strength. What are we contemplating today? Easy does it.
If the board comes after us, we'll be ready.
What do you think you're doing? Go on before I change my mind.
Clyde's got himself a cozy little outfit, huh?
Should we knock before we barge in? Or are we foregoing politeness today?
Captain, Felix and the Vicar are arguing again.
You don't think that's a problem? Whole ship's running on a computer's fancy. That'll make you nervous, Preacher?
No, Felix. The concept of a ship computer does not make me nervous. Are you scared of Ada?
I ain't scared of Ada.
Good. I'm glad we cleared that up.
It's just, she's a computer, Max. What happens when her equations tell her to cut off her oxygen? Or blast us all into space?
Felix, Ada is not sentient. She can't act out of a sense of malice. Where do you get these ideas?
I was watching True Stories of Mechanical Murderers last night.
One of these days, I'm going to make you read an actual book.
Hey, Cap.
are now in orbit above Byzantium, Captain. Remember that you are not insured.
Where are we headed?
Captain, I've been thinking. Something about this Harlow guy isn't on the up and up. Glad it's not just me. The way Harlow is leaning on his revolutionary bona fides, not to mention his knowing Felix back in the day, something about it feels off. I'm not suggesting otherwise, especially if Harlow's paying. I'm just saying we ought to keep our eyes open. Something on your mind?
You don't really know how to fix that, do you?
What are you talking about? I repaired 2 of these while you've been blathering.
Really? The pile next to you looks the same.
That's because the damn things keep breaking. Or haven't you noticed?
Anti-Creo's Facial Mask Skin Cream. Leaves you feeling fresh and tingling. Do not operate heavy machinery for 2 hours after application. CNP Burst Pockets. Can be macrowaved in 2.5 seconds. Burst Pockets.
Remember that stranger I saw?
You, with the hips. Over here. Let me take a closer look at you. Don't speak. Hold that posture for a moment while I admire you. You have a natural contrapposto, my dear. The way you rest your weight against your hip suggests a certain rugged charisma possessed only by the mighty primal and the well-traveled spacer. Splendid. I love it. Ah, Celeste, you've done it again. I knew from the moment I laid eyes on you that I'd found my muse. I'm Celeste Jolicoeur, and you, my dear, are exactly what Byzantium needs. Darling, you and that brutish swagger of yours have been on my mind the moment you stepped into my studio. I'm working on a new line of clothing that will shock this city to its core, and I'd like your help. What do you say, my dear? Care to make history with me? Marvelous! You and I are gonna wake this city up like a cold splash of wine to the face. What I need is a survey of the outside world. What does the common laborer wear? How do the wild-eyed madmen of Monarch dress themselves? I've heard rumors, but I require samples. Also, I expect you to model for me. Oh, you cad! You'll be the talk of Byzantium once I'm done with you. I'll need you to model for me the following: the apparel of an iconoclast, the armor of a marauder, and a full ensemble of spacer gear, helmet included. And when I say spacer gear, I mean an outfit worn by real spacers. None of that garbage spacer's choice pedals.
No tall shoes, though. I mean it.
You have the bearing and demeanor of a born model. You're going to absolutely murder this job. I expect you'll cut an exquisite figure. What else do you need to know? I've heard rumors of these iconoclasts, half-mad zealots rampaging across the surface of Monarch. You'll have to find your own way into Monarch. I can't help you. Even if I could, I prefer not to interfere with your creative process. I don't know, I've never seen a marauder. Not in person, anyway. There are always Aetherwade programs, but I want something authentic. Byzantium is long overdue for a change of wardrobe, my dear. Something barbaric, yet elegant. If I were an enterprising spacer in need of a wardrobe, I'd probably head to the Groundbreaker. Fabulous! I can't wait to see what you dredge up.
You don't gotta be so forward about my reasons, Captain.
Let me get a good look at you. Turn around, please, darling. My word. Such muscular shoulders. You're a vision, dear.
I am no such thing, ma'am.
Nonsense, you're absolutely lovely. Chin up now. I have just the thing for you. Let me do a back-of-the-envelope calculation. Materials, labor, licensing and copyright. There. Darling, do I look like an amateur? I read her measurements by eye. And don't you ask, because they're no one's business but her own. Love? That's the ultimate luxury, darling. Love. Oh, gracious me.
I don't get why that's funny, ma'am.
Oh, my cherub. Who woos for love anymore? That's so... precious. All right, Captain. Here is the absolute best I can do for you. There are some things I simply cannot skimp on, darling. Such a lovely young lady deserves the best. Now stand back. Back! I'll enter the settings and get these machines spinning. You'll be broke to bespoke in merely an hour. And there we are, my darling girl. I wish you a splendiferous evening. And if you don't mind my asking, have you any interest in modeling?
What? Oh, no, ma'am. All them eyes staring at me? I couldn't. No way, no how. I get scared just thinking on it.
I wish you weren't so shy, my Violet. You truly are beautiful. I hope your date sees that as clearly as I. If I were an enterprising spacer in need of a wardrobe, I'd probably head to the Groundbreaker. For you, anything. Outside Byzantium? Of course not. There's nothing for me outside Byzantium. Yes, and I'm terribly grateful you've agreed. Look, darling, I don't belong outside Byzantium any more than a fish belongs on the land. Anyway, I'm quite certain Byzantium wouldn't last 3 days without me. I'd return to a smoking ruin of hideous fabrics and mismatched colors. Byzantium has lost its élan vital. Everything about this city is so dreadfully stale. I want to make people uncomfortable the way you do. You're an outsider. You clearly don't belong in Byzantium, and yet you strut about, doing as you please. I'm not some common buttonmonger, darling. I'm an artist. It's my job to make you uncomfortable. You're very welcome. I can't wait to see those outfits.
If I do somehow drop dead in here, promise me you'll drag my corpse somewhere with monsters.
What can I do for you, darling?
Oh, can you believe this outfit? It's so handsome, I'm almost afraid to touch it. Well, I guess that's everything then. After all this time, I just have to actually do it now. You know, there's a part Junlei's been looking for to fix up the air cyclers. They only carried them on big colony ships, like the Hope. I know. For a while, it felt like everything I did was a little bit of help. And it meant I didn't have to ask her to be mine. Not yet. Not for real. Next time we dock with Groundbreaker, I'm doing it. I'll send June a message and ask her over. Oh, this is real scary, Captain. I'm grateful for all you done.
Something on your mind?
I've always loved that sculpture.
It's an orrery, and you say that every time.
It's strange, though. I thought Byzantium was the center of Halcyon.
That's a figure of speech.
I know that.
Spacer's Choice Zero G Brew. An ale that's good for what ails you.
Why can't something exciting happen around here for once?
Nothing wrong with stability. It means everything's running like clockwork.
Don't you ever want a little fun? Maybe see a marauder ship get blown to bits overhead?
What a thing to say. Everyone knows marauders can't fly.
What is it? I'm trying to keep a low profile.
Some crew members are causing a disturbance on the ship.
You're adjusting before you pull. You're anticipating it. You...
Of course I'm anticipating it. What if I shoot a friend on accident?
That's on account of your stance. You want to lean into it. Embrace it. Work with it. You're in control here, Parvati, not the gun. Don't let a hunk of metal jerk you around. You've been around powerful machines. Here, stand like me. Just so. Hips square. Lean forward a little. It's just equipment, and you're just an engineer using it. Ah! Okay. We'll try again later. You'll get it. I promise.
We've arrived at the groundbreaker.
All right. She's on her way. How do I look? Oh, my hands have finally stopped shaking. All right. Deep breath. Here I go. Anyhow, so I told him, Dad, I'm a big girl now. I ain't need your help. I can do it on my lonesome.
What did he say to that?
Have at it then. And he handed me his favorite wrench, the one he used for the canner. He was probably half as tall as I was.
He didn't scold you for talking back to him?
Nah, he was never like that. I always thought it was funny when I get indignant about something. Then he'd watch me do whatever it was, make sure I didn't get hurt, but he'd never interfere. I learned a lot that way.
I wish I could have met him. Anyone who helped shape you must have been a special person. I'm trusting you to keep Parvati safe. She means my father and I were often at loggerheads. He had notions of how the station should be run, and I had others. He was fond of saying, "You think Groundbreaker pays for itself? Someone's got to cover the bills," when I chafed against his deference to the board.
Sounds like he was afraid of him.
He was, and he was right to be. Didn't mean I had to like it. Some of the cable routing in here is unique.
Oh, excuse me. June, call me pretty.
I could see why Parvati seems so happy here.
If you're cold, then I'm the void of space. Cold. That's the silliest thing I ever heard.
Thank you.
Isn't this swell? Captain, no spine.
I appreciate you making the time for this.
Battery levels are fully charged. Thank you, customer. Warning! Raptidon claws carry bacteria and have the potential to cause organic death due to massive amounts of blood loss. Service cancellation request processing. All SAM units travel fully assembled in a 12x12 corrugated steel box. Did you know SAM units are capable of equipping regulation-grade flamethrower nozzles? Upgrade your attachment today and get to firing away. SAM units live to clean and clean to live.
Clyde's got a crew of his own, huh? Good for him. Did you want to ask me something? Yeah, boss?